man, guys. How's it going today? We are out here, and this is the end of February, believe it or not, in Wisconsin. And it was a 60-degree day today, and this is the evening now. So it's probably like 55 or so. I don't have a temp gauge on the CB1000R here, but it's about 55 or so right now. Crazy weather for up north. So today's topic is, should you ride your motorcycle when there's still salt on the road? So should you ride with salty roads? What are the pros and cons of it? And I think, as with a lot of things in life, it probably depends, right? So it depends on what type of motorcycle you have and whether you like to wash your bike or not. So I think the first thing you should ask yourself is, or you should consider, I guess, is, do I have a vintage motorcycle? Do I have like some kind of a collector's item? If you have some kind of a collector rare bike that you are going to have a hard time finding parts for, or just you're going to depreciate big time by getting salt on it and the possible dangers of rust, the answer to that is probably no. If you want to ride early season or late season, if you ride up with their salt, right? Oh boy. Oh man. This thing is crazy. This thing, the CB1000R seems docile down low, and it is like below 7,000, but man, you get above like 7,000, 8,000, oh man, better hang on. The horsepower this has in the specs does not tell the truth with the pull this thing actually has. So, anyway, yeah. If you've got a unique and kind of a rare bike, or you got a collector's item or something like that, you probably shouldn't ride in the salt. What I would do is I would buy something more modern or something, you know, less expensive, and I would take that out if I were you. If I were me, which I am. No, so yeah, I would probably take out the bike that is not a big, oh, lots of sand here, and crank it over that and have a real bad day. Yeah, just I would buy something that's more suited to that purpose, something inexpensive that you can have some fun on. You're not too worried about getting rusty. So yeah, if you got like a ZH2 or something like that, super high dollar bike, I don't know if I'd be out riding it early season. But this bike I got pretty inexpensive, and it's a Honda. It's pretty reliable. Parts should be available enough for this, and I wash my bike. So if you take the second thing is, if you take your bike out, whatever you're riding, and it's early season like this, and there's still salt places, you know, there has been enough rain to totally clear. There has been some rain, so this isn't as bad as it could be. But if the roads are completely clean, you really need to wash your bike and not let it sit for weeks. Like, let's say it was warm in, I don't know, the end of January or something for some reason, like it was this year, and you ride it once or twice, gets all salty, right? And then you let it sit till like March. That's a bad idea. I think that's a bad idea. So you should wash it before you put it away for a few days or a week. So like tonight I'm gonna be washing this. Maybe we'll get a little shot of it or something. It'll B-roll afterwards. But yeah, I'm gonna go and rinse this down when I get back tonight, and probably do, if you got your bike has a chain, you should do your chain. See, some of the corners are pretty sandy like this still, and there's still junk in them, so you got to be careful. They're not gonna be hitting it hard. Yeah, if you got a chain, you should do your chain maintenance. After, make sure you wash the chain good, and then you lube it, because you don't want to get a rusty chain leaving it sit for weeks with rust on it, right? Or add the water to it, right? And then not lube it, and it still has some rust on it, and you have very sad times with your chain. Oh man, the pull, the top end grunt on this thing. Holy crap. Man, oh man, guys. Oh! Okay. Gotta chill out. This road's really nice. This is like new pavement, so it's a pretty fun road to be on. So yeah, make sure you do your chain maintenance after you do your wash, and so you don't get a rusty chain on it. And then two, make sure you like wash up your exhaust and things like that, the underside of the bike. Make sure you get under there with the hose and get everything all as best as you can. That's the one thing about riding in salt. The real con to it is, you know, there's lots of little nooks and crannies and stuff in bikes. Well, there is in cars too, but in bikes there's little nooks and crannies and stuff underneath. And then being able to actually, man, look at this corner, what a mess. Holy crap. That's real bad. The straights are pretty good around here, but these corners are still full of sand because they do a sand and salt mixture up here. Yeah, so getting all the nooks and crannies and stuff washed out underneath the bike, it was pretty difficult. Man, this thing is like not even rideable in the left lane. Look at that. These roads are way worse than I thought they were going to be out here. Man, does the front end ever get light under acceleration? I don't think the wheel's coming up. It doesn't feel like it, but it's real light in the front end. So, what is the next pro or con to think of here? Depends on how long you're going to keep the bike. And this maybe seems a bit selfish. If you're going to keep the bike for a long, long time, they're going to keep the bike for 10 years or something, maybe don't ride it in the salt, right? Now, that's not to say you want to give the next person something that's been wrecked. I do have a bike that was obviously ridden in the salt and not washed properly, although since I've waxed it and washed it good, and but the front brake, not this bike, but the front brake calipers, you can see have had salt on them and they let it sit for too long, and you can see the effects of that. It's got like white marks and stuff on the front brake caliper on that bike. So people do it, you know, and then they sell it and it's the next person's issue, right? But that bike, it was perfectly fine. I mean, it rides good, runs good, it's just a little cosmetic stuff, you know. And yeah, so also, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, make sure you wash off your front forks and stuff too, where keep those, the front forks clean where they go down inside the seal there, in your front forks, the fork seals. Make sure you keep that as clean as you can when you're riding in any, well, you guys know that, but any kind of mud or dirt or conditions. This isn't too muddy right now, but any conditions that are, you know, going to get crap in there, you can try to lengthen the life of your fork seals up by keeping that clean so you don't get a bunch of like hard pieces tearing up your seals, you know. So what do I think about it personally? Well, generally, I normally don't ride until, well, how can I put this? I like riding late in the season before there's salt, even if it starts getting a little cold. I don't usually ride this early in the season, but we've had very unseasonable weather. I mean, you get the 60s and stuff in February, like never happens up here. So I'm like, oh, I'll go take it out and then, you know, wash it up as best as I can. I bet you this turn up here is going to be real bad because look at see the dirt, sand over here, and then how it comes over this ridge and there's a driveway. This kind of stuff you get to learn after you, see. If you came through hammering this out, I would have had a real bad day. Got some Amish action up here. Look at this mess, you guys. Look at this mess. I think I might ride back a different way if I can. It's so bad. I don't know if I want to come down this hill with that kind of slop going on. Oh, man. This video is just going to be me talking about sand on the road, I think. Yeah, I'm not going to be coming this way again until we get a couple good rains, because this is like super dangerous. If there was a car in another lane right now, I'd have to be literally like going 5 miles an hour or something. Let's get out of there. So yeah, for me personally, I wouldn't normally ride this early in the season, but I took this bike out. I figured I'd keep it washed up. It's a Honda. The finish is in pretty good shape, you know. If you have a bike where you know the finishes aren't that well done on, like you have an old, what would be a good example? Maybe like an older Ducati, or just something where the finishes aren't super top notch. I mean, every brand has had some cheap finishes in the cheaper bikes and stuff, I suppose, but you know, they can rust sooner or you have damage like that, so just be aware of that, and then you're going to have to be on top of the maintenance even more than you would otherwise, right? And I suppose a lot of these things we're talking about here, some people probably think are common sense, but some of the newer riders probably, you know, they don't have a lot of experience on salt and such, or maybe you just moved to the Midwest. Man, oh man. It's crazy when you get back on a bike after not riding all winter, and you kind of like, you know, you don't ride for 3 months or so. 4 months, you kind of forget what it feels like to get that pull. That's a separate video. Maybe I'll do a separate video for that. But it's crazy to get back that feel again. You're like, holy crap, with the G-force against you and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and the last thing I'm going to say is too, you got to be really careful when you're out riding, as you saw back there with all that sand. You can't attack the corners like you would like, you know, in June or something, where you know the roads are clear, it's 70 degrees out, it's been plenty of rain, you know, last couple months, and everything's clear. You just have to be really careful, because you could come up on a corner and you're just like, you know, say you're leaned over and there's just this random patch of sand, like thick sand like you saw back there, and you just low side. That's the end of the day for you, you know. So you got to be careful. You can go out for a ride and have fun like this, you know, and enjoy it, but you're not going to be able to be like out being super aggressive unless maybe you know the road well and you ride it once, you see it's all clear, right, and then you turn around and hit some corners and get some gains that way. But you can't be going up on corners that were clear the end of last season like those were, right, and then you see that slot mess there and then you have a real bad time. So yeah, I mean, if you go through the corners a couple times, and there were some clear ones earlier today when I was riding, I could have turned around and got some more gains and stuff and hit them pretty hard. But and the pavement's, I think, still a little bit cold still too, because it's not really the season for riding, so the pavement's going to be a bit colder than it would be for grip and all. Although I really haven't felt any problems, but I'm not riding that hard either. But yeah, the pavement's not going to be like hot and sticky like it would be when you've got a 80-degree day or something, or 90 in July. But that's not to say you still can't come out and have some fun. So all that being said, if you want to come out and have some fun, I think you should definitely do it, because, I mean, the fun you have on the motorcycle is priceless, right? And if you got to do a little extra maintenance and clean it, I mean, you should be cleaning your bikes anyway, but if you want to do some extra maintenance and clean it and stuff and get your chain maintenance done, so be it. You know, we got to do it anyway. But just be aware that you may not get all of the salt off everything, especially on the rear shock and sport bikes like this. Like, you'll be shooting junk on your rear shock, and that can, it's hard to get that all clean. You can hose it down pretty good, but you may not get it completely clean. But those are just things to keep in mind. And but really, what's the alternative, I guess, is not riding, right? And then you don't get to enjoy your machine and go out for some quick early blasts like this. And I think that's kind of priceless. So I guess really it's up to the individual rider. Where I would say no is if you have a vintage bike or something that's accruing value, like a vintage Indian or Harley or something, or I don't know, maybe like a vintage Ducati or something like that. I probably wouldn't do it on one of those. But if you got something modern, something that you don't have a lot of money into, that's used for bombing around on, I think you should absolutely do it. Just be careful. Right. Looks like we got a stop sign up here. Alright guys, so what do you guys think here? Do you guys think that riding in salt is good or not? Let's talk about it below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you do it? Do you think people who do it are stupid and they shouldn't? You think I'm out here being an idiot riding in this kind of crappy roads? Oh, you know what? I think this highway road is going to be even worse for salt. Yeah, this one's been brined a bit. I'll see if I can avoid the brine lines. Yeah, here's another example of salt here at the end of the video. See these lines here? But I'll ride on this and then go wash the bike rather than go through that sand to get in some of those downhill corners and then have the rear end get squirrely and crash. You can't wash crash away. You can wash salt away. But yeah, it's interesting that this was just done like this when it's been so warm. Unless this is just leftovers, but this seems kind of recent. Oh, yeah, one last thing too. I might insert this earlier in the video, but if you have a riding suit like I got or something like that, or leathers, and you're riding in really heavy salt, you probably should check your boots and your pants and such, or the back of your jacket, depending on if it's wet. And you're going to have to wash that stuff down too. At least just wipe it down with some water, or use some little bit of I don't know, like Dawn dish soap or something, or I don't know if you're going to use that to dry the leather out, but at least wipe it down with a damp cloth and get the salt off of it, and if it's all salty, you don't want to leave it that way in your leather forever and dry the leather out and such. Little side tip there. Hey guys, we are back in the garage here with the CB1000R, and I thought I would show you, this is a couple days later, I thought I would show you how it washed up. So I washed it up a bit when I came back, just a quick little, rinse down. And I got the, I scrubbed this a bit with a brush, but I haven't lubed this yet, so lube the chain, I mean. And here's how, after a quick little wash, looks like I might have missed a spot right there. So yeah, you got to hit the brake calipers and the fender, the wheels, especially if there's a lot of salt on the road, right? We'll see how it turned out. It turned out okay. It looks like I missed a spot right there, right? And make sure you do your fork legs and such. Fork legs turned out pretty good. And we're just checking over to see how the wash turned out here from the salt, right? These were like this, been like this before I bought it. The pipes, I mean. And let's see the side here. Got the swing arm. Swing arm's got a little bit of junk on it still. So we're gonna take a couple washes to get this. I actually, interesting, I rinsed this down quite a bit back here. See how there's still junk on this? I actually rinsed this pretty well. So, and I haven't ridden it since I washed it. So it needs to be, if you're going to be doing, I'm just gonna take a couple washes and then maybe use some higher pressure on that. Not too much higher pressure, you don't want to wreck stuff, but you can also, you know, have to physically wipe that, but you can't get in there too well with your hands. So maybe a little more pressure. There might also be, you have to look into, there might also be some kind of a solution you can use that you can spray on to help with salt removal. I'm going to check into that. Here is the, check the underside of that. It came out pretty good on the muffler. Here's the rear wheel right here. That washed up pretty good. You have to spend a little more time on it again, but if you're going to ride in the salt, you got to make sure you wash it up good. Like I was saying, this looks like I'll have to spend a little more time on the next wash here, but it did wash up pretty well for how salted the roads were. And make sure that you, if you're gonna ride in the salt, like I was saying, make sure that you clean your chain and you lube it up good, because you don't want to get the extra. You don't want that to rust on you, especially, right? Obviously, you don't want anything to rust on you, but you don't want the chain to rust on you and start wearing out stuff, wearing out your sprockets and stuff like that. And make sure your brakes, you know, let's see how the brake caliper turned out over here. It's hard to see on this bike. It's under there, the Nissan one. Yeah, I need to hit that again a little bit. See how it's kind of cloudy looking, so that should be, I'll have to scrub that up a little bit next time I wash. But I'm probably going to ride this weekend as well, because it's going to be warm up here, and I will give it even a better wash because it's going to be warm. All right, we will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you hit like and subscribe if you enjoy this content, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody.